in there. Hey y'all! Welcome to another episode of Conversations with KFLO. Okay, let me make sure my comment is in here. Did it show? It's showing. Hey y'all. And there's alright. And bam. Oh, look. Oh, it done changed up. Girl, what is that? What is that? I'm sorry, y'all. Give me just a couple of minutes. Okay, so this is on. And then that's it. And the comments are on. And we're live now. I don't know why that's not showing. But anyway, I had to speak to the people. Okay, where is? Oh, there it is. All right, there we go. All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with KFLO. Tonight, my guest, Tifanny Wingo, my homie from the DC3. All right, y'all. The goal of the show is to inspire, encourage, and empower you to live life better. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at I am KFLOK. And for fashion content, you can follow me on Instagram at KStylesU, KSTYLESYOU, spelled out on Instagram for fashion content. Everything else is at I am KFLO. That's on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And again, y'all, it's my birthday month. I'm trying to get 500 followers for the month of November. I'm at 350, so I need that other 150 to come on through on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All right, Tifanny, tell us where you from? Where you from?
Oh, Chi-Town.
In the house.
The Bears. Okay,
you know what? You got a whole lot of fun, baby. They was eating you up last Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
They was giving you the business.
I was hoping, but it didn't happen. It's all right. The Cowboys beat us this time.
Listen, I don't know nothing about none of that. Because I doesn't watch no football. Zero. I have zero teams.
No, I love me football.
Mm-hmm. Let me, y'all give me a second. I'm just sharing. Make sure everybody gets a chance. And I'm going to share it on the Kim Keaton page because that's where y'all got to go and watch me more. I don't know why y'all ain't on Conversation with KFLO yet, but that's just how y'all do. So I just shared it. Now, if you would, you have your phone, can you go to my page and share it, please? Mm-hmm. Share the live. And then I think I can go live on Insta. Let's see if I can figure it out. Come on, Insta. But anyway, you guys, tonight we're going to be talking about what's going on with all these marriages that's falling apart. We're going to talk about these local elections and Texas. I don't know why Texas continues to do the same thing on and on. I mean, just continuously doing the same thing. But it's a red state, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiff, I'm going to try to get you in on this live. I don't know if I'll be going. Oh, that looks pretty good. That's fairly. All right. Mm-hmm. Oh, there we are. Oh. Sit down. So is this showing my good side? Wait, what's my good side? My left side.
Your left side. You got to turn.
Got to turn around.
Both sides are beautiful.
Girl. Okay, here we go. Okay, so tell me what you think. Okay, so let me list out these couples who just got divorced here recently. Okay, so we have Tia and Corey, divorced after 14 years.
Right.
We got Devon and Megan divorced after 9 years. Cynthia and Peter, her first time with Peter, that was 7 years. Then she got married to Mike. That lasted 2 years. Giselle and Tom Brady married for 13 years and split. And let me see who else we got. Billy Ray Cyrus and his wife Tish Cyrus have been married for 28 years. That's Miley Cyrus' mom and daddy. They done split, and he already got a new girlfriend.
Well,
okay. We got Hoda Copy from is it Good Morning? Good Morning. One of those morning shows. Hoda Copy, and her husband. Well, they were together for 8 years, not married, but they were together for a total of 8 years, and they just split up. And so I don't. What do you think? Like, what's in the water? Like, what's going on?
What's in the water?
What's in the water?
You know, a couple things. I don't know these people personally.
Okay.
But a lot of times people say, "Oh, irreconcilable, irreconcilable differences and all that." But really, at the end of the day, what I now have come to see in my own personal experience has been that if you don't know what the vision of your own life is before you get married, you often will pick someone who doesn't fit that vision. And then if they don't know what the vision of their own life is, they're picking you and don't know how you fit into their vision. And so now
we have an eye problem. We have a vision problem, is what you're saying?
Well, the vision for your life, what is it that, and I can only speak from, I'm a Christian, I can only speak from this perspective that we all have purposes and plans in our lives. And even if you're not a Christian, you should have purpose and plan for your life. And so whoever you pick needs to fit with that purpose and that plan of your life. Otherwise, you're not moving in the same direction. Right. So, of course, there can be a whole host of other things that come and hit a marriage, and either you agree to work through it or not. But it really starts with that knowing for yourself. So when you go and pick that partner, you're looking past, are they cute, or they have a job, and all those things that are more surface. But who are they? How do they fit in your purpose?
I totally agree. And I used to think, because I'm a Christian too, but I used to think, how do these relationships, like, what are y'all talking about in the beginning? Like, what are your discussions about that you can get married to somebody and not know them? Not that people that don't change, because people do change, people grow, things, situations change. But sometimes I've heard people say, well, he changed. He just became a totally different person. Did they really become a totally different person, or did you ignore some signs?
I think that people are who they are. And again, you said it. We're not asking the right questions because we don't know the questions to ask, because we have not, again, determined what do we really, life is about purpose. And so we're matching up the people just because of surface level things. Or they may be good things, but they still don't meet your purpose. For example, you may say, I want someone who has a job, who loves God, who likes to go on long walks. Okay, that's great. But what if one of your purposes is to have a business, leave a legacy, and the person you get with, they spend money like it's growing on trees. They don't want to have any children to leave a legacy for. And I mean, so I guess, so then how do you fit together? It's going to be friction. It's not that they're a bad person,
right? But
again, you didn't assess what is your purpose. And that happened to me. All the surface, the wonderful surface things, and the hard worker and all these things. But me not understanding, how does this individual fit with the purpose that God had it for my life, and vice versa. And if they don't understand their purpose, when you come into their life, you could be a valuable individual. You could have a lot going for you. But if they don't see how you fit, they will misuse you because they don't see the value in you, because they don't see how you fit in their life, because they don't know or haven't taken the time to understand their own purpose.
I totally agree. That right there, see, that's a whole book right there, what you just said. Because for me, being single, I've never been married, never been engaged, never been proposed to, like nothing. I've been single. I've been doing this single thing for a long time. So for me, I have always had like that. That has always been the thing for me. I've always thought about, well, what is our life going to look like in the future? How do you pay bills versus the way I pay bills? How do you spend money versus the way I spend money? So I've been looking at that stuff, I don't want to say since I was a teenager, but probably 18, 19, 20. All that stuff was in my mind. Just like that early, because I saw my mom, she was married to my dad for 24 years and then they divorced, right? And so I had those conversations with her, like, well, you know, what happened? Like, what did y'all not be? See, that was a different generation. That was a different era. My mom is 85 years old. So back in her time, it was you just marry whoever's working, you know, whoever's going to take care of the family. Like this, you weren't worrying about nobody opening doors and you know, being chivalrous and being kind and being loving and, you know, having dates and none of that. That stuff didn't exist back then. They didn't care about that. And so I had those conversations with my mom early on. And I guess because of those conversations, I was like, shoot, I ain't going through that. I'm gonna make sure my husband do this and he got this. And it's just like, I've been like that for so many years. So it's always been easy for me to be like, no. Like just right off the bat, I'd be like, I don't think we're on the same page. I'm gonna pass. And especially when it comes to my spirituality. Like a lot of people used to tell me, well, would you ever give somebody a chance who's not a Christian? No. Because off the bat, our core values are gonna be different. He can be a great person. He can be a wonderful provider. We can have fun together and have the best time. But if his core is not rooted in Jesus Christ, it's gonna cause a problem somewhere.
Right. It will.
Because I need to know that if something happened, you're gonna be able to hit your knees and pray for me.
Right.
I don't want you cussing and fussing and picking up a gun trying to shoot somebody. I mean, you can have a gun, that's fine. I need that type of protection too. But I need you to be, you know, let me call Jesus real quick. On that note, hold that thought. I'm gonna turn this fan off because I don't know if people can hear it in the background. So slide under you. This looks real bad on camera, but it's okay. I'm the producer.
While you're doing that, you know, another thing I think oftentimes people have a list, and that's fine. But it goes again, if you don't know what your current and or more importantly your future plans are, then you have a list, but it needs to again fit with those plans.
Right.
So as you are asking questions, and then listen to the answers to the questions, because that'll mess us up too. And we're so, I hate to say the word thirsty, but oftentimes we kind of want to push aside the red flags that come up and plow ahead. And then the other person, the same thing. They want something, and they say opposite attract. Well, they attract, but they also, they're not, it doesn't last because it almost becomes oil and water. You shake it up for a minute and it stays together, but then it separates at some point.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. And it's hard. I hate to say this. I don't want anybody that's just like me, but I do want somebody that has some of the same, you know, qualities.
Compliment.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I need you to compliment me. We don't have to be exactly the same because I like myself. So I'm sure there are qualities in me that if I saw that in somebody else, I would be like, oh, okay, he's like me, you know, and that way we would probably, you know, get along on those things. But yeah, I do need some, you know, a little bit of an opposite, but I would be good if somebody has, you know, because I feel like we would get along if we had some of the same, you know, traits, at least some of the same morals and values for sure.
Well, I personally,
same music.
Well, I like to be stretched though, and I like having someone who I can grow with,
Right.
and they add value to me, and I can
Mhm.
add value to them.
Right.
And so I don't really necessarily believe we're going to all like the exact same thing, or my
True.
future spouse will like the exact same thing, but
True.
I just believe that it needs to, again, what am I bringing to the table? And if I meet someone and they may be awesome, but as I listen to them, I know inherently that I don't fit within that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be adult enough, mature enough to walk away from that.
Yes.
And not try to pretend that you're that. Because unfortunately, I experienced that. I felt like I had met someone who pretended or was attracted to things they saw in me, but then it didn't play out that way, because as I continued to be me and keep walking in the purpose that God had for me, it became a problem. And I found myself diminishing myself to fit, to make them comfortable. And that's a very dangerous and unhealthy place to be.
Really?
Very dangerous.
As strong as you are, you actually felt like, how did you do that?
Well, you withhold, you don't move forward with certain plans and activities and things that you want to move forward with, because you're trying to fit, or you find yourself saying yes to a lot of the things that they want to do because you want to keep peace. You're trying to keep peace, and I think that although there's going to be some level of adjustment and at times give and take, I never really say compromise, but give and take within the relationship. When you're finding that there's an imbalance, it's more giving than it's just kind of, but it just happens in very subtle ways. And before you know it, your light is dimming down because you don't want to outshine this other person. But really, when you come together, you're one. So if my partner is doing well, I'm excited. I'm fine. I'm the type, I'm trying to figure out what I can do to learn that particular thing, to understand what it is to help you get better or grow, because I see it as us, that with you succeeding, we're both succeeding. It's not a competition.
It should not be.
And so be careful with that. But I don't know, in those particular relationships that you mentioned, I'm sure there's a whole host of things, but life is such, there's only a short list of reasons why people get divorced. It's not that there's 40 different reasons. It's usually a more or less the same of the same within a relationship, and why people decide to move on. And it doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't.
Well, I know one of the main reasons used to be, they used to say finances. I know that can be a big issue, but when you're dealing with celebrities, they got money. So what y'all doing?
It could be communications.
Right. I was distraught with Megan and Devon. I was just like, oh Lord, they didn't make it. Lord,
you lost sleep.
I did. Oh Lord, somebody, what's their number? Let me call them. Let me pray for them, Lord.
But it happens, and it will continue to happen. But the question is, from those encounters, will you learn? Will you grow? Will you adjust? Most people, sadly, will not learn, will not grow. There'll be multiple, I call them multiple divorcees, and it's not a knock against anyone. I'm just simply saying that a lot of times we just think it's just that person. Okay, then we move to the next one, and then so you have to really pause and take a self examination, and before moving forward, and go, wait a minute, let me just what can I do? What do I need to work on? What do I need to change? So that's kind of what I encourage others to do, and I have done, and still in the process of doing just that.
Okay, we got a comment. Hey, Alicia.
Hi.
Alicia said, I stayed as long as I did because I thought I was letting God down, and the advice of people that I admired in ministry, I kept being told it was me. Girl. Wow.
You know what? The part that I can relate to what she just said is that I never had people telling me to get a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a lot of, pray, and a lot of that. And I often felt like people weren't really listening to exactly what I'm telling them I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find yourself hearing too many voices when you're going through an unhealthy and traumatic relationship, and you do struggle as a Christian, since this woman is a Christian, with whether or not you're letting God down, because remember, you said all these things before God, and you're really trying to sustain, and you realize that you are feeling horrible, you're unhealthy, you're gaining and or losing weight, you may be losing hair. I mean, it's all kinds of things that people go through, and it can be, it's not something flippant. And I never understood the whole divorce parties and all that because if you really, really meant that thing and it just, whatever reason, did not work out, it should not be this celebratory exchange. I've never got understood that, but it's hurtful. It's a very dark, lonely place to be in.
Yeah, because people say it's like a death. Like
it
you're
is
losing. If you became one and you lose, part of your one, that's a death.
And you also, it becomes a death of other relationships, because when you are married, you have created new relationships because you're married. Like some people only fool with you because you're married.
Right.
So with married friends and other things of that nature.
Right.
And then once there's the separation, the break, and the end of that relationship, you may lose friendships.
Right.
People stop inviting you to certain things, or I had a friend of mine was married for quite some time, and there were women that wouldn't just all of a sudden, these are people that she had been interacting with, and they just didn't interact with her anymore.
Oh, wow.
And just a lot of awkward interactions when they did interact. Because now she is a single woman, and she's like, I don't want your husband. I know what's going on over there. But it's just kind of so it becomes a death in on so many levels.
Yes.
Because you've been experiencing things with this other person. Now they are no longer there, and you've got to make that life adjustment.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't even thought about the relationships that you guys build, together as a couple, or that you combine together as a couple. And then you have the families and stuff. And sometimes if there's kids involved.
Exactly.
And all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, who's over here? We got Alicia and Tamir. I'm going to go off of this one and go over to conversations with KFLO. So you guys log off of here and then join me over on the conversations with KFLO side. Okay? See y'all in a minute. And who else we got on? We got Robert in here. We got Nola. Hey, Nola, where you been, girl? I missed you. Okay, now let's get into, I wanted to say this too. So my mom, after 24 years, here was the crazy part about that situation. My dad, I guess my mom had because he changed. He started out as a Christian, but then he started, just falling off and decided he wasn't gonna, follow the ways of the Lord anymore. And it became, an issue, for my mom, because she was like, well, I didn't sign up for that. You was a Christian when I married you, so you supposed to, stay a Christian. So she decided to leave. But here's the crazy part. She wanted a girl. She had already had 2 boys, and she wanted a girl. And so I guess they're like their final, whatever.
Yeah.
He told her, well, you better hope it's a girl. And then she said after that, she was like, after I got my girl, peace. She's like, oh, man, I got my girl. So that was. But, okay, we're going to switch topics up here.
All right.
And I'm trying to get conversations with KFLO. What y'all doing over here? You can't switch. Oh, it's still uploading. Okay, girl. But we're going to switch topics and talk about this election.
Now we about to lose half the audience. You know how people feel about politics. Yeah, you know what? I don't.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I just. Well, first of all, it wasn't as horrible as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
There were some losses of people that I voted for, but there was some wins, and but it wasn't as of a circus as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to talk about the whole voting component.
Let's do it.
And I was thinking about it, and I thought my perspective is probably not going to be popular, and I know I'm probably going to upset some people with what I'm going to say. But okay. I see things as, and I will, since people don't really like politics, I'm going to approach it from an income or money perspective.
Okay.
Because people like money.
Okay.
And I thought about the different groups, and of course, you can be part of all kinds of groups. You know, you can be part of the if you're in high school, you in the cheerleading squad. You can be group by your height, group by your weight, group. But in this case, we're going to talk about the class, our financial or income classes. And in America, we have like what I call the mega rich. Mega rich meaning like billionaires. Mm-hmm. With a B, mm-hmm. Mega rich. Mm-hmm. Then I like to call the next group sort of the rich, which could be your athletes and all the other businessmen and people who are just rich. They have millions. They could be actors, they could be doctors, whatever, but they have millions. Mm-hmm. That group. Then, and you can figure out what group you fit in. Then after that, I feel like there's like what I would say, the wealthy. Now you might say, well, ain't wealthy, rich the same thing? But I kind of see wealthy as people who are well-to-do. They may not be mega rich. They may not be even rich, but they're doing well. Mm-hmm. They're comfortable. Mm-hmm. Their kids in private schools and mm-hmm. all that kind of stuff. They may have some couple of properties and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then we have the group that I would say is upper middle class. A lot of times we just say middle class, but mm-hmm. really middle class is pretty broad, and there's more some uppers that are almost more in the wealthy, almost head towards rich, but really they're more just upper middle class. Just have you ain't saying mine yet. really strong incomes. And then we got the middle class, which is a segment that they claim is shrinking for various reasons, but middle class. But I often see kind of the middle class people are people who may not have grown up middle class, but they are middle class. Like they really work because they want their kids to have more than what they had before. So now they kind of end up in this zone of middle class, and middle class have some kind of savings, you know, mm-hmm. and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But then we have another group called the working class. Mm-hmm. Now, the working class, frankly, and again, I'm simplifying this. The working class pretty much is those who they work and cannot afford to miss not one paycheck. Right. Not one. Like not one. And then there's some, they might be miss one or two, but mostly the working class is what I would call working, for the most part, living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And maybe they might need some things for the government, maybe not. It depends on where they fit in the working class. Right. You know, they may be working class, almost the middle class, but not quite. Right. And then that last group, I like to call them the gap group. That's the gap group that they're working, but they don't make enough to meet all of their needs. So there's a gap at the end of the month. That makes sense. Yeah. For their basic needs. Right. So they are the ones that may need the EBT card or some child care assistance mm-hmm. and all those social programs. Right. Now you might say, well, Tiffany, what this has to do with politics? I know. Well, break it down. If you are in the working class group, meaning you work at paycheck to paycheck, or you can't afford to miss a paycheck, or in the gap group, you need to be at the polls. If it opened at 7, you need to be there at 6:30, because those two groups are the most vulnerable. They mostly need the programs and the things that's available. They most need the breaks of the taxes and all these other things. You get what I mean? And so I'm astonished because oftentimes those are the groups that sometimes again, keeping it simple. Don't
Don't
vote. But guess who be voting? The middle class people showing up because the middle class is scared they're gonna not be middle class.
Right.
You get what I mean?
I got you.
They worried about that. They like, oh, I ain't going back to that. Like,
I'm
because they
picking up
probably
what
didn't
you
grow up
putting
middle class.
down, man. I'm picking up what you putting down. I got it.
And who also voting is the wealthy, which is the group or the upper middle class. We just say middle class. The middle class and upper middle class voting, and because neither one of them want to be out of that middle class.
Right.
And then the wealthy are voting because they're typically maybe in some cases a little more educated, in some cases or not, but for the most part. So they know the importance of voting. They want to have their voice heard. Now, the mega rich billionaires and the rich, they don't need none of the things that the government is giving. No. So either they are backing things to help, if they believe in the society as a whole, to help the working class and the gap, or they backing things because they like, yeah, I want to keep all my stuff.
Yep.
And who gonna help me keep all my stuff?
Yep.
I don't give a heck if she could pay, have food. I don't care. Could pay for house. I don't care none of that. I don't care if it's affordable house. I don't care none of that. Because I got mine to be okay. If I lose $1 million or $2 million, if I lose 10 million, I lose 100 million, I'm still gonna be rich.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's so sad. So you see, I'm a little passionate about this stuff.
Yeah, I feel it.
We didn't hit this one because. So that's a part. So I just want to encourage people wherever you fit, and don't fool yourself. If you are middle class and you call yourself middle class, yet you can't afford to miss a check, you technically are middle class. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You're really not. Because you can be living in a big, nice little house, and if you miss that check or two, you sliding quickly into working class and quickly into the gap group.
Right.
Because a lot of times we're flexing and flossing and carrying on, and we'll call what I call high earning incomers that are still poor, cash poor. Because soon as they get an increase, they move from the 2,000 square foot house to the 4,000 square foot house. So now they done ate up the increase that they just got at the job. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, we probably have another whole segment on this.
No. Let's talk about it, because I totally agree with you, because I know someone personally who, now I wouldn't say he's not rich, but he's very well off. And he told me, he was like, I voted for Trump. He was like, because I like my money. And I was like, dog, for real? But I get it, because everything that you just said, and I don't understand why. And I even know some people, not that who probably disagree with what you're saying, but I know some people who, like some millennials, these people in their 30s,
right,
who make, I know one guy in particular who makes really good money. He's a really nice, the brother make a nice little living, and he don't vote. And I was like, well, why don't you vote? He was like, because it doesn't matter. He was like, whoever's gonna win is gonna win. He's like, my vote is not gonna count. I'm like, that is so sad to hear you say that. But I agree with you in the sense that I think it's the local, those people who are on the bottom of the, class section who don't vote, but financially, but those are the ones who don't go to the polls, or those are the ones who say that my vote doesn't count. But if you voted, we wouldn't have all this red stuff that's going on in Texas. That's because poor folks don't vote.
Yeah, and I think the other part B to this is that people aren't asking the right questions. So some people who are voting, they're voting without being educated about their vote. So in other words, they hear someone say something negative about another candidate, but then you don't turn around and ask them, okay, but if I vote for you, what exactly is your plan? And when you ask that question, ask them, what is the plan? There's like crickets.
Yeah.
Because most people are just, they're voting based on personalities and not on their politics, meaning what is your policies? What are you actually planning to do? What is the plan? I love the word P, the P.
Right.
Your plan, your policy. What is it? I don't want to hear, I'm not so much concerned about the person to some degree, because I like integrity. Okay, so if you show me a lack of integrity, I don't care how great your plan is, because at some point you're gonna stab somebody in the back because your integrity is not there. But at the end of the day, people who say it doesn't matter, they've kind of lost a bit of humanity. Because why not vote if you're good and your stuff is all great and dandy? Still vote. I vote basically for other people.
I voted for me,
but I'm being honest.
I want Abby. No.
But when I say that, I think about other people. Like, for example, I'm not about to have any kids, but I still wanted to vote. I felt like other generations should have that choice. So I voted for those people. I voted for the current people who are in that age gap, in that age of wanting to have babies and all that. Right. And so you have to get beyond yourself. If we don't get beyond ourselves, we're in trouble. If you live in a neighborhood and you cut your grass and it looks nice and great and all your stuff is great, but if your neighbor doesn't, for whatever reason, maybe they ran into some issues and their stuff is not together, if you don't think it's not going to affect your home, you crazy. Right. It is going to affect you. Right. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Well, it's the same thing with voting. Just because some of those issues may not always directly affect you, it's affecting somebody. And if we have a weak, unhealthy society, then trust me, it will affect you at some point. There's going to be some higher this, that, and the other. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
your neighborhoods might not be the same.
Right.
That's
just I mean. Like when trash move, when people who, like you said, people who don't take care of their yards, don't take care of their cars and stuff, move into a nicer neighborhood, it brings the value of the neighborhood down, right? So it's the same thing with voting. It's the same thing. You have to vote in the people that you want to make it better for everybody.
And you don't have to be in love with the candidates.
Right.
I mean, they're waiting. So I need to have me another Obama, or I need to have me another Clinton, or I need to have me another Bush, or whoever you all excited about. It's not that anyway.
So Alicia said she voted based on the issues that are relevant to me, such as healthcare, being the mother of Black sons, right? And law enforcement is a huge issue. It absolutely is. And I cannot believe somebody said that Uvalde voted for Abbott.
Yeah.
He didn't even come check on y'all when the situation happened. He did not. Yeah. He was out at the gun meeting.
I think too, we don't teach enough in schools the importance of the local
we don't.
Government. We push a lot the Constitution. We have us reciting it.
Right.
That's what I remember in the 80s. But anyways, I'm telling my age. And so but I'm just like, what we don't teach enough the importance of the local, but when we're not educated, we don't turn out for the midterms and all of that. But the people who are making the decisions are the people we vote at the local level that we're sending to Washington to represent us. And let me tell you, the governors, they have a lot of leeway. They got budgets like yay big, and I'm the screenshot yay big, and they can pretty much spend it almost any kind of way they want to. And so I don't think people realize it. But the sad part about it is people will not realize things until they no longer have the particular whatever that thing is. And again, it's only really hurting the group that I mentioned the most. It is not going to hurt people who are mega rich to pay a couple percentages more in taxes. Right. I promise you. They still going to be mega rich. And I think that's the thing. But they have the money to pour into the candidates that they want to pour into. Absolutely. That's true. They have a right to do that. But and so do you in other ways. Right. Going to volunteer or simply, here's the free one, voting. Vote. So I applaud those who did vote. It's free. And just keep encouraging people. It's a battle. It's tough to convince those, but we just do our part a little at a time.
And speaking on local stuff, it's really disheartening to me because we have a very bad homeless situation here in Texas, and it is it really blows my mind how there is no money to get these people off the streets. There's nothing that no one can build. There's no shelters. There's no community. There's nothing for where these people can go but then y'all can throw up a stadium real quick. When it comes to sports, y'all got so much money to throw up for a stadium. I'm like, well, where did all this money come from that y'all said y'all didn't have? I don't understand.
Well,
politics.
Voting. Once
Politics.
again. Voting.
It's like when they built that bridge, that old ugly bridge they built over there between. Like, that's what y'all want to spend our money on? Mm-hmm. That? Really?
Yeah, it's always been an imbalance. And certain things will not be completely rectified, and then some things take time. And I think, unfortunately, when people don't, and getting to the people who say, "Well, others don't vote or it won't matter," is because they've been a bit disenfranchised.
Yeah,
they're discouraged with when things don't turn around right away. Yeah. So it's complex.
It's complex.
But I just encourage people to ask questions.
The information is out there.
It's out there.
You just have to ask. You just have to ask.
Yeah. And just stay aware.
And go to the town hall meetings.
Go to the meetings. You learn a lot.
You learn a lot at the town hall meetings.
That's true.
I been to a couple and was like, what?
Okay. We about to do what?
What?
And they
we're gonna put another dollar what? Another dollar store? Why? Can we get a restaurant? Can y'all give us a place that we can go eat? I don't want to go to Luby's. Okay. I used to love I love Chick-fil-A, but you can't go on Sundays. Okay. I love what's that other burrito spot that I love? Chipotle. I love them, but the customer service is horrible. So I'm getting sick of going to Chick-fil-A. Chipotle. Have Michael Jackson on your screen saying,
"Oh, look what you gotta ask somebody."
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's teeth. Old school. I'm old school.
Teeth are beautiful.
Wait, y'all see it? Oh, we didn't do it away.
Okay, Robert said new $1 million dog shelters and no homeless. You see what I'm saying?
Come on, Robert.
Come on, Robert. You better say that, sir. People care more about animals than they do about people. My mama say that all the time. My mama say these people and their pets. I said, I know it.
Oh, speaking of which, so I know abortion is a very touchy topic, and I always wonder. Well, we spend a lot of time not wanting people to get abortions, and I strongly feel that is a decision that's very difficult, and it's between that person and their God.
Absolutely.
But yet they don't make provisions for once these people have these babies that they don't really want now.
Right.
It's just things like that. Like, think logically about this and ask yourself, does this make sense? Is this really what I want to support? A group that that on one hand wants to protect the unborn fetus, but once they're born, how am I going to navigate this? And I really don't want. And now with the mental illnesses and all these things, I'm just thinking of what environment now some of these kids are about to be born into. Mm-hmm. And trust me, if someone doesn't want a child, they're going to figure out a way, and it may not be the healthiest way. So we're going to see the effects of this at some point in time in society. And I feel for those who don't have choices and options at this point. They don't have an option to fly to another state to take care of whatever they.
And then the doctors or whoever are getting fined or going to jail or whatever. Okay, so what is pro-life, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're pro-life, you care more about an unborn fetus than you do about a black man with his hands in his pockets with a hoodie on. Mm-hmm. Because are you really pro-life? I'm just trying to figure it out.
Welcome to America.
This is America. All right, let's get off there before we lose.
We lose half the audience on that one.
All right, we'll wrap this up. Y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all came in onto this finale. The people on Instagrams, hey, Miss Gina, Miss Sissy Delgado, thank you for tuning in. Miss Nola, Alicia, and Robert, thank y'all for coming in on tonight. Okay, now we're going to wrap this up, and I want to talk about, but before I say that, we were talking about the couples. I don't know if y'all know, Tony Braxton did a CD called, what's it called? Love, Marriage, and Divorce. Wonderful CD, by the way. So if you get a chance, listen to that. But I want to get into this on this crazy dude. We're not going to spend a lot of time because the show is almost over. I just want to say, y'all, Kanye West is crazy. Off his rocker. I don't know why people are still investing so much time and money and time on Kanye West. I'm gonna give him about 5 minutes. But he's cuckoo.
Kanye, Chi-Town finest. That's Kanye.
Oh, was he from Chi-Town?
Yeah, he's from Chi-Town. So I'm from Chi-Town. Let me say this: I don't have any problems with Kanye, and let me say why. I feel Kanye has the ability. It's called free speech. He can freely speak. However, do we really have free speech? Because it seems to me we only have free speech when we agree with the speech. And when we don't agree with the speech, then we make them pay for that speech. And we make them pay either a little or a lot or with their life. And so the reason why I don't have a problem with him is because if I start having a problem with what he says, then that means that I'm being hypocritical because I want to be able to have my free speech too. Mm-hmm. And you may have a problem with me. So if I'm going to treat him the same way. Okay. So doesn't mean that because I don't have a problem with him that I don't have a problem with what he's saying. What I'm simply saying is I see this from a broader perspective, how we keep saying free speech, but we go in where we don't agree.
Culture.
Cancel. Now, but I don't know. I think that I don't know why we care so much about what he says, though. I think that's the part that I'm so baffled by, because from my perspective, we're all made from dirt. God made us from dirt. That's me. You don't agree? Okay, read the Bible. And so he's just a lump of dirt with a couple of extra zeros and a comma. And so why do I really care exactly what he says? Why am I bothered? I guess he's not my role model. And if he's others' role models, then they are setting the bar pretty high, pretty low. And so, and I don't even like the word role model. I have no role models in my life. Mm-hmm. I actually have people that I'm inspired by, because they may be doing things that I would like to do, but I'm not about to model myself off of a piece of dirt.
I know that's right.
Any thoughts? I like to drop them in there.
Well, that's what I just wanted to say. I don't know why people care so much about what Kanye said. He's crazy. He's proven it over and over. We know he's crazy. He's been diagnosed as cuckoo. We all know this. So I don't know why people, they just keep him in the dude is crazy.
Well, I disagree. I don't think he's crazy.
I do.
I think that he just has an opinion that differs from some. And I have to say some because, to be frank with you, there are people that agree with some of the things he says. So either they crazy, as you say, or they are misinformed, or a combination of all three.
He has been diagnosed as bipolar, and I'm pretty sure he's not taking his medicine. So he's a cuckoo, a whack job.
Kim ain't having it. I'm trying to be more diplomatic about it.
I'm not going to be diplomatic about him.
Mental illness is an issue, and people are challenged by it. But I, like I said, I see it as a broader thing. He can say what he want to say, but there's consequences to those things, because, like I said, I really don't believe there is truly free speech anymore in the world, and there never really has been.
I agree.
It's just a thing that people like to say when it's convenient and it suits them and it benefits them.
Right. Well, let me at least tie Kanye back to what we were talking about as far as relationships. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful about who your baby daddies is and your baby mamas.
Say that. Say that.
Because these kids, okay, now he got children that's looking at him. He got children that's looking at him.
Oh, okay.
See the neighborhood going down. You see what I'm talking about? But he's got children that are looking at him, and years and years from now, they're gonna look back and be like, "What is wrong with my daddy?" So, ladies and gentlemen, be careful who you have in these children with. You don't want them looking at and saying, "What was you thinking about when you got with that person?" Okay, y'all do some investigating before y'all hook up with these people.
Oh, wait, that's Facebook user. It says, I don't think they're okay.
I don't think they're knocking his free speech, but there are consequences. Yeah. We have a code of ethics on our job and can be terminated for things we say and do, and that's what happened. He's not appear to be stable. He's not stable. He's he want to say, but just know that whatever he says is coming out of a crazy mouth. That's all I'm saying. The dude is wacko.
Consequences. You said it.
All right, it's 7:20. Listen, I have enjoyed you, ma'am. If y'all want to know why I'm sitting up higher than her, it's not because we're probably about the same height,
short now.
but it's because I have back issues and I'm sitting on a pillow, so that's why it looks a little weird. But it's okay. But anyway, that was a great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Guys, if you are on here, I see about 5. 1, 2, 3. I see about 5 people. So that means I should have 5 shares of this show. I should have 5 shares if you're watching this show. So I want to see those 5 shares from you, Miss Hines. Thank you, Miss Hines. I want you to share. Hey, Tamika, go back and watch the show, but you can share it. Mike James, Pete, please share. Mr. Robert, please share. Miss Alicia, please share. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for my guest, Miss Tiffany Wingo.
Yeah.
Okay, as usual, you guys. No, let me ask you this: is there anybody that has inspired you recently, or who inspires you? If there's anyone that inspires you right now to live life better or do things better in your life, are you inspired by yourself?
There's too many for me to name.
Okay.
I am currently, though, and as far as we'll keep it on topic, as far as from a political standpoint, I am inspired by those who really have a heart to try to make positive change, and that it has to be difficult for those that are running in these various races. I know we spend a lot of time, talking about the different groups, but at the end of the day, it does take a lot of effort and courage to put yourself out there in the public for us to scrutinize you and so forth. And if we didn't have those people who are really pushing to try to do things and make change, we would not be benefiting too from our current lifestyles,
right.
The things that were done for us way back when, decades ago.
Right.
So, and I am inspired by the outcome of the current elections, because again, I thought it was going to be just complete fiasco, but it does give me a little glimmer of hope as some people are listening, that it wasn't just this wave of all red or all blue. Like it clearly people are trying
across different states.
Yeah,
not here in Texas, because it was red. It was a red tsunami in Texas.
It's still red, but it's just the fact that and Beto did pretty good for those who are Texas, considering. But I just think so I'm inspired in the more general sense at this time.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, and what are you doing personally? Because the show is to inspire people to live life better. So what are you doing yourself what is Tiffany doing to live a better life? Whether it be eating better or working out or anything. What are you doing?
So a little bit of all of that. Okay. And then I'm also doing a better job at listening now and trying to get the other person's perspective. That's probably why I had that slightly different perspective about Kanye and a couple of the other things, because I feel like if we took the time to stop looking for what's for us, then we'll become more empathetic to other people's plights and situations.
Gotcha.
And that way we may still differ,
right?
But now we won't be brawling in the streets or saying crazy stuff about other people, but instead we'll say, okay, I did agree to disagree. So I'm spending much more reflective time so I can leave a more positive mark. But then there's a whole host of more things that I'm trying to do. I'm still working on it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Working on it.
Very good. I think we are working on it. We are working on doing better. All right, you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Y'all go be great. Listen, I want to be and need to be the greatest me that I can be. So y'all go out there and be great. And this is the finale for season 2. I'll probably be back in December. And I have probably some little local celebrities that's going to be on season 3. What?
I thought that was me.
Girl, bye.
What?
All right, y'all. Thank you. Thank everyone for tuning in. Y'all have a great night, and I will see y'all for season 3.
Bye.
Peace out, y'all.
All right.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm trying to end it. Won't let me end it. There we go. All right.
Okay.